Hi, I'm Zara, graphic designer. I always admire the side of design which can kind of impact on social or personal behavior. In the society I come from, graphic design is still a new field, I think, and most of the people think that it is the art or the knowledge of combining colors and typographies to create something, help businesses sell more. But in my point of view, graphic design, or better to say, the concept of design is more than that. It is a powerful blend of art, social understanding, and psychology, and creates something to live a better life. In my career experiences, I was always a graphic designer for advertisements. So I really enjoyed that because it gave me a huge knowledge and understanding of human psychology to craft some campaigns, to sell more and, work better. But I always wanted to make something to have a better and bigger impact and influence, to make people think deeper about subjects around them happening every day. So that was, my purpose of my whole life. So my master degree was, a great opportunity for me to kind of try to reach that purpose. Maybe tiny steps, but, I tried my best. One of our assessments for our master degree in our second semester, I think, was designing a book based on a competitions brief. And I remember the suggested concept was Frankenstein, but from the first moment my mind was drifting somewhere else, and I was thinking about again making a huge impact and take a big step. So I was thinking about some traditional and cultural concepts or stories in my country, and that was the beginning of a journey to pay tribute to the concept of heritage. When we speak about a country, for example, my country, Iran, it is important to understand many elements in the culture of that country are deeply rooted in literature, art, and history. Like, for example, in my country, we can find that in Persian rug, miniature painting, and also masterpieces in literature. I wanted to pay tribute to literature, which holds a special place in Persian heritage. And you can find you can nearly find books like Shahnameh or the Book of Hafiz or Sadi's books in every Persian household because they are really important in our culture. Shahnameh, or it will translate into the Book of Kings in English, is one of the most important masterpieces in Persian mythology and literature. It was written 1,000 years ago by Ferdowsi in 50,000 lines of poetry, and it tells mythological and historical a story of Iran, and it weaves together tales of legendary kings, heroes, and moral lessons, blending myth with elements of real Iran's history. Ferdowsi wrote Shahnameh during a time that Persian language was at the risk of being forgotten because of the political and cultural situation at that time due to Arab war with Iran. And what makes this book really important is that he wrote it entirely in Persian, and many scholars believe that the Persian language that we speak right now owe a great deal to Ferdowsi's efforts. And by understanding this importance, I decided to work on a short story of this legendary masterpiece. It wasn't short, to be honest. I summarized it and made it short, but it wasn't short. So the story I worked on is one of the most symbolic stories in Shahnameh, and I just want to tell you this story to have a background and know how it led the project in this way. It is called The Tale of Zahak and Kaveh, and I just want to tell you this story. So once upon a time, there was a king. So just stop. I will read it from here. I don't want to make a mess. So how the story starts. Zahak was a tyrant king who had once been an ordinary man, but through deception and greed, he made a pact with the devil. As a result, 2 snakes grew from his shoulders, and the only way to keep them calm was to feed them the brains of Persian young men. His rule was marked by fear, oppression, and bloodshed. People lived in silence, too afraid to resist. But among them was Kaveh, a humble blacksmith who had already lost many of his sons to Zahak's cruelty. When Zahak demanded another, Kaveh finally refused. He stormed into the royal court, asked for justice, and spoke out in front of everyone, something no one else dared to do. Kaveh's bravery sparked a rebellion. He raised his blacksmith's apron as a flag, which is called Darafsh Kavian in Persian, and it is really important. What would later become a symbol of freedom, and led the people in a fight against Zahak. Eventually, with the help of a rightful heir named Feridun, they overthrew Zahak and ended his reign of terror. So the story of Zahak and Kaveh is full of metaphors, and it is not just about monsters and kings. It is about standing in front of injustice, even if you feel powerless. And even one ordinary person, a blacksmith, can speak out and start something bigger. This story, The Tale of Zahak and Kaveh, is full of powerful contrasts. In every scene, you can see the opposite meanings and concepts meet each other, like good versus evil, justice versus injustice, bravery versus fear. So from the first steps, I knew that I want to work on this concept, but the main contrast that I wanted to work on was telling an ancient traditional Persian story to Western culture and audience. So that was the main purpose. And I wanted to play with the concept of book, how we open it, how we read the book. So I was thinking about the way we write in Persian, which is also opposite with English. In Persian, we write from right to left, so we open the book from the right side. And in English, we read and write from left to right, so we open the book from left side. And I wanted to bring this, opposite thing into the content that I was working on, but in physical structure. So I was imagining about a book that can open from both sides, and I decided to design a book which can open from the center, and each side will open to the different way, and each side can hold the opposite perspective. For example, when you open the book, every side has the opposite meaning with the other one in front of that. And you can see the contrasts in the story. For example, when you open the book, you can see one side is telling about the good side and the other side is talking about the evil. When you just go through the next page, it is justice versus injustice. Again, it is bravery versus fear. So this structure was also holding the contrasts in this story that I wanted to work on, when good meets the bad. I always try to design based on atomic design principle because I think that I have gathered all the assets I need for my design and make things out of them. So for the first step, I was thinking about of the primary color, but for that, my purpose was just not only paying tribute to Persian literature. I was thinking about paying tribute to the artistic side of my country, like Persian rug or miniature paintings that we kind of grew with, and we saw these Persian patterns everywhere. So for that reason, I thought about the Persian patterns in Persian rug, and I tried to use the Persian red as the primary color of my project. I decided to design the whole project in black and white, but use that powerful Persian red color for the subjects that the audience or the reader should focus on during the reading the book. So that was the primary color which came from the Persian rug. For the next step, I was working on the fonts. I was thinking about using Persian calligraphy in my design. So at first we were thinking about designing a book that it is half in Persian and the other half in English, but based on the competition's brief, we couldn't use the Persian language. We had to design it whole in English. So I decided to create a font that's kind of combine both languages, but the handwriting side of them. So I tried to design a font by combining the handwriting calligraphy Persian with English, but make it more readable. It wasn't a really creative thing because I saw lots of designers did that before with Arabic and Latin, typography, but my challenge was making it readable, because when you try to make it more Persian, it lost its readability. So after lots of readability tests with people around me, I created that font that I wanted, but again I tried to don't use that that much, because when I use that for the whole text of the story, it wasn't again readable. So I used that font for the subjects again that the reader should focus on. And it wasn't enough for me. I really wanted to use Persian calligraphy because, when we think about the Persian traditional book layout, we remember the Persian calligraphy. So I couldn't use that as a text, but I said, why not we just use that as objects, So that was the reason that in some pages you can see Persian calligraphy, but they are not the things to read. They are objects for the English readers. For example, a Persian calligraphy in the shape of a cloud in the sky. It's a cloud, but it is also a Persian calligraphy. So I did the thing that I wanted, and I'm happy about it. After creating the font, I knew that I want to develop some custom illustrations specifically for the project. Something that reflects both Persian and English aesthetic and exists, somewhere between them. So I tried to mix the, two cultures' taste of art together, like, Persian miniature with, Western art, to illustrate some, beautiful illustrations to show the concepts that I was working on. So I created a storyboard for the story I was working on, and I identified 7 key scenes where two opposite meanings meet each other. So based on that storyboard, I started illustrations, and when you open the book, you can see that contrasts from the first page. For example, at the first page, the death is versus life, and again it goes on. You can see Zahak versus Kaveh, which is hero versus evil, and the story will be end in a scene which is a mountain in Iran. This mountain, it is called Damavand. It is in Tehran, and it is also known as the jail of Zahak. At the end of the story, when the people, win that battle, they prison Zahak in that mountain. The mountain that you can see in the sky among clouds, everywhere you are in Tehran or, the cities around. So after designing the font and illustrating all the illustrations I needed, it was a time to design the pages. For the page layout, again, I decided to pay tribute to my culture. Again. So I was thinking about the traditional Persian books, which they use miniature painting a lot. And if you see that books, you can realize that they kind of focus on the paintings rather than the texts. And it is kind of like comic books that we have right now. All the focus is on the painting and the image, and the texts are in a corner in some tiny boxes. So I used that idea for the page layout I wanted to make. So when you see this book, you can see that, the texts are in corner, in the boxes, and all the attention is about the illustration, like traditional Persian books. So after preparing all the things that I talked about and the process, it was the time to create the book. And I met Martina. She really helped me a lot for the book binding, and I really appreciate her help during the project. So for the book binding, we decided to do the screen printing for the book cover, and also for the pages, we printed all the pages on A4 and connected them with a piece of paper and make something like a concertina which connects to the book cover and makes a book. And also from the back you can see that the book cover is connected with a cloth, which kind of, makes that concertina like the pages that you can go through, as you see.